Commander Sarah Chen floated in the observation room of the space station New Geneva. She looked down at Earth through the big window. The blue planet turned slowly below her. Cities sparkled like tiny diamonds across the dark parts of the world. 7 billion people lived down there. Sarah had done this same watch duty for 3 years now. Every morning she would check the sensors and make sure everything was safe. Earth had been peaceful for 50 years, ever since they met the aliens from the Galactic Empire. The Empire was huge. 47 different alien species worked together across the galaxy. When they first came to Earth, humans were scared, but the aliens seemed friendly. They shared technology and opened trade routes. Humans learned to travel between stars and built colonies on 12 worlds. "Morning, Commander," said Lieutenant Torres as he floated into the room. "Anything interesting today?" Sarah smiled. "Just the usual. Ships coming and going. Earth looking beautiful." Torres pulled himself to the control panel. His face changed suddenly. "Commander, you need to see this." Sarah pushed herself over to the sensors. The screen showed something that made her heart stop. 12 massive shapes had appeared at the edge of their solar system. They were enormous. Each one was 10 kilometers long. "How did they get so close without us seeing them?" Sarah asked. "They must have been cloaked," Torres said. His voice was shaking. "These readings. Commander, these ships are Imperial dreadnoughts." Sarah had seen Imperial ships before, but only the smaller ones. These were warships, the biggest and most powerful ships in the galaxy. She had never seen 12 of them together. The communication system crackled to life. A deep alien voice spoke in perfect English. "Attention, human settlement. This is Admiral Veltar of the Zephyrian Hegemony, speaking for the Galactic Imperial Council." Sarah grabbed the microphone. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth Defense. What can we do for you, Admiral?" "You can prepare for judgment, human." The words hit Sarah like ice water. "Judgment? What do you mean?" "The Imperial Council has studied your species for 50 years. We have reached a conclusion. Humans are a statistical impossibility. Your rate of technological growth is too fast. Your expansion across space is too aggressive. Your behavior is too unpredictable." Sarah looked at Torres. His face was white. "Admiral, I don't understand. We've been peaceful. We've followed all the treaties." "Treaties were a tool to study you," Veltar said. "Now we know what you truly are. You are a virus that will destroy galactic stability. The Council has voted. Humanity must be eliminated." "Wait!" Sarah shouted into the microphone. "We can talk about this! We can change!" But the communication went dead. On the sensor screen, the 12 Imperial ships began to move toward Earth. They moved slowly, like giant predators approaching their prey. Sarah hit the emergency button. Red lights flashed throughout the station. "All hands, this is the commander. We have an Imperial attack force approaching Earth. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." But even as she said the words, Sarah knew the truth. Earth's defenses were nothing compared to 12 Imperial dreadnoughts. Humanity had built their ships for exploration and trade, not war. The aliens had made sure of that. The attack began an hour later. Sarah watched from her station as beams of pure energy struck Earth's atmosphere. The weapons were beyond anything humans had ever seen. Where the beams touched the ground, everything simply stopped existing. Cities disappeared in flashes of white light. The moon base tried to fight back. Their missiles were the best humanity had. They bounced off the Imperial ships like raindrops. One by one, Earth's orbital stations were destroyed. New Geneva shook as energy beams passed close by. Sarah knew they were saving her station for last. She opened communication channels to every human colony. "This is Earth Defense Command. Earth is under attack by Imperial forces. The planet is lost. All colonies, you are on your own now. Remember us." Through the window, Sarah could see Earth changing. The blue oceans were turning black. The white clouds were becoming gray smoke. The sparkling cities were gone. Torres was crying. 7 billion people, Commander. They're killing everyone. Sarah put her hand on his shoulder. She felt strangely calm now. Send a message to Titan Station. Use the emergency codes. Tell them the contingency protocol is now active. Titan Station? But that place doesn't exist. It does, Sarah said quietly. And God help us all, we're going to need it. The final beam hit New Geneva an hour later. Sarah and Torres held hands as the energy tore through their station. In her last moments, Sarah thought about the hidden ships and weapons that humanity had built in secret. The aliens thought they knew everything about humans. They were wrong. Below them, Earth had become a dead rock. 7 billion humans were gone. But across the galaxy, in hidden bases and distant colonies, 200,000 humans remained. The aliens had started something they didn't understand. Humans had learned about war and death and loss, but they had also learned about revenge. The stars had fallen silent, but they would scream again soon. 3 months had passed since Earth died. Dr. Marcus Webb stood in his office on Kepler 442b, staring at a picture of his wife and children. They had been visiting Earth when the attack happened. He was the leader of the largest human settlement left in the galaxy. 15,000 people who had been lucky enough to be far from home when the Empire decided to kill them all. Marcus was no longer just a scientist. He was now something else. He was the man who had to keep humanity alive. His computer beeped. An encrypted message had arrived. Marcus frowned. The encryption was military grade, using codes that officially didn't exist. He opened it carefully. The message was short. The contingency protocol is now active. Report to Titan. Coordinates attached. Admiral Elena Vasquez. Marcus stared at the screen. Admiral Vasquez had died 5 years ago. Everyone knew that. She had been working on classified military projects when her ship disappeared. But the encryption was real. The coordinates pointed to a location in the Kuiper Belt, where old Earth's solar system used to be, a place where nothing should exist. Marcus called his deputy, Captain Julie Park. She had been a soldier before Earth died. Now she helped keep their colony safe. Julie, have you ever heard of something called Titan Station? Julie's face went pale. Where did you hear that name? So it's real? Julie sat down heavily. It's classified above my level, but I heard rumors. They said Earth's government was building something secret out in the dark, something they hoped they would never need to use. Marcus showed her the message. Julie read it twice. Dr. Webb, if this is real, then Earth's leadership saw this coming. They prepared for it. Prepared for what? The Empire just killed our entire planet with 12 ships. What could we possibly have that would matter against that? I don't know, but we need to find out. It took 2 weeks to gather ships from all the human colonies. Word spread through secret channels to every survivor. The remaining humans, scattered across dozens of worlds, began to move toward the coordinates. Marcus arrived at Titan in his small research ship. What he saw made him forget how to breathe. Titan Station was massive. It looked like a city floating in space, but it was also clearly a military base. Weapon platforms surrounded it. Shipyards stretched for kilometers, and docked at those shipyards were ships unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. They looked human, but wrong. They were sleek and black, built for war. Each one was the size of an Imperial cruiser. There were dozens of them. Marcus's ship was guided to a docking bay. When he stepped out, a woman was waiting for him. She wore an admiral's uniform and had gray streaks in her black hair. She looked exactly like the pictures of Elena Vasquez. Dr. Webb, she said. I'm sorry we couldn't meet under better circumstances. You're supposed to be dead, Marcus said. I've been asleep for 40 years, Elena replied, waiting for this day, hoping it would never come. She led him through corridors filled with people in military uniforms. These were humans Marcus didn't recognize, but they moved with purpose and discipline. "Who are these people?" Marcus asked. "Volunteers," Elena said. "When we first met the Empire, some of Earth's leaders were suspicious. They created this project in secret. Volunteers went into cryosleep to cruise ships that we hoped we'd never need to build." They entered a massive room filled with computer screens and tactical displays. Hundreds of people worked at stations, analyzing data and planning operations. "What is this place?" Marcus asked. "This is where we've been studying the Empire for 50 years, Elena said. Every trade mission, every diplomatic meeting, every piece of technology they shared, we were learning about them, their weaknesses, their political divisions, their fears." Elena pulled up a hologram showing the galaxy. 47 different colored areas marked the territories of each alien species. "The Empire isn't as united as they pretend to be. The Zephyrians hate the Andromedans. The crystal beings don't trust anyone organic. The machine species think biological life is contamination. They've been held together by fear and mutual benefit for 2,000 years. "What does that matter now?" Marcus asked. "They killed our world." Elena smiled, but it wasn't a happy expression. "It matters because we're going to use their hatred against each other. The Empire thinks they eliminated humanity, but we're still here, and we know things about them that they don't know about themselves." She led Marcus to another room. Inside were detailed files on every Imperial species, their biology, their psychology, their history, their technology, decades of intelligence work. "This is Operation Extinction," Elena said. "We can't fight the Empire directly. We're too small, but we can make them fight each other." "You want to start a civil war?" "I want to end the Empire," Elena said. "Permanently." Marcus looked at the files. There were plans within plans, false flag operations, psychological warfare, ways to make alien species turn against their allies. This is monstrous," Marcus said. "Yes," Elena agreed. "It is. But they killed 7 billion of our people, including your family. They would have killed you too if you'd been on Earth. The Empire chose to be monsters first." Around them, the awakened crew of the Ghost Fleet prepared for war. They had been asleep for 40 years, but their hatred was fresh. They had volunteered for this mission knowing they might never wake up. Now they had work to do. Marcus thought about his wife and children, about 7 billion dead humans, about the survivors scattered across the galaxy, hiding and afraid. "When do we start?" he asked. Elena's smile became real for the first time. "We already have. 3 Imperial trade convoys have suffered mysterious accidents in the past week. Each attack used weapons from a different species. The Empire is starting to ask questions about their precious allies." The Ghost Fleet was awake, and the galaxy was about to learn what happens when humanity decides that extinction works both ways. 6 months after Earth died, the Imperial Council met on Nexus Prime. The massive building housed representatives from all 47 species. They came to discuss important matters like trade and territory. Today, they were talking about dividing up humanity's old colonies. Admiral Veltar of the Zephyrians stood at the center of the Great Hall. His blue skin glowed with satisfaction. "The human problem has been solved," he announced. "Their homeworld is gone. The remaining settlements are scattered and weak." The other species nodded in agreement. The Andromedans, with their silver skin and large eyes, seemed pleased. The crystal beings sang harmony notes of approval. The machine-like Silicon Collective transmitted data packets of satisfaction. "Should we eliminate the remaining human colonies?" asked Ambassador Kreeth of the Void Walkers. "Unnecessary," Veltar replied. "They are no threat now. Let them live on their few worlds. It will show the galaxy that we can be merciful." The council members felt proud of themselves. They had solved a problem and maintained galactic peace. They did not know that everything was about to change. Dr. Marcus Webb now called himself something else. He was the last human, a title that meant he spoke for all survivors. But he was not just making speeches. He was commanding a secret war. Across the galaxy, humans moved like ghosts. They used stolen identities and changed their appearance with surgery. Some looked like Zephyrians with blue skin. Others pretended to be Andromedans. A few even disguised themselves as machine beings. Dr. Sarah Kim was one of these ghosts. She had studied alien psychology for 20 years. Now she used that knowledge as a weapon. She knew exactly which fears and hatreds lived in each species. Sarah currently looked like a Zephyrian traitor. She was on a space station in Andromedan territory, spreading a very specific lie. "I'm telling you," she said to the Andromedan security chief. "I saw Zephyrian military ships near your research facility last week. They were scanning it with deep-range sensors." The Andromedan's large eyes grew larger. "Why would they scan our facility?" "Think about it," Sarah said. "Your people just developed new shield technology that would make Zephyrian ships obsolete. What would you do if you were them?" The security chief's face darkened. Andromedans were proud of their technology. The idea that Zephyrians might steal it made him angry. Across the galaxy, other humans were planting other seeds of doubt. Agent Tom Rodriguez looked like a crystal being as he spoke to the Voidwalker Military Council. "The crystals have found ancient ruins in the disputed zone," he told them. "Ruins that prove your territorial claims are false. They plan to use this evidence to take your worlds." The Voidwalkers were territorial by nature. They had fought wars over border disputes before. This news made them furious. Agent Lisa Chen, disguised as a silicon machine, sent data to the crystal hierarchy. The data showed biological contamination spreading through silicon space, contamination that could threaten all organic life. Each lie was small, each was believable, and each one pushed on old wounds and ancient fears. Admiral Elena Vasquez led the military side of the operation. Her black ships struck at carefully chosen targets, but she didn't attack military bases. Instead, she hit trade routes and communication stations. Her ship, the Nemesis, attacked a Zephyrian convoy using stolen Andromedan weapons. The convoy was destroyed, but the weapon signatures left behind told a story. They said that Andromedans had killed Zephyrian traitors. Another human ship attacked an Andromedan research station using Voidwalker technology. The attack looked like revenge for territorial disputes. Each attack was blamed on a different species. The evidence always pointed to someone else. Ancient enemies began to suspect each other of new crimes. The Imperial Council noticed the problems after 2 months. "Trade route security has decreased by 30%, reported the economic minister. "Several species are complaining about attacks on their ships." "Pirates," said Admiral Veltar. "Will increase patrols." But the attacks continued, and something else was happening. Species were starting to argue with each other during council meetings. The Zephyrians accused the Andromedans of espionage. The Andromedans claimed the Voidwalkers were planning expansion wars. The crystal beings said that biological species were contaminating space with their diseases. "These are old disputes," the council president said. "We have peace treaties to handle such matters." But the treaties worked only when species trusted each other, and trust was beginning to crack. Dr. Webb watched the reports from his command center on Titan Station. The plan was working better than they had hoped. The Empire was starting to eat itself from the inside. "The Zephyrians have moved 3 battle fleets to their border with Andromedan space," reported Captain Park. "The Andromedans are responding with their own military buildup." "Excellent," Webb said. "And the economic situation?" "Trade between hostile species has dropped by 50%. Some worlds are having supply shortages." Webb nodded. Economic pressure made political pressure worse. Hungry people blamed their neighbors for their problems. Admiral Vasquez appeared on the communication screen. "Marcus, We're ready for Phase 2. My ships can hit the major communication hubs. If we take out the quantum relay network, species won't be able to coordinate their responses. Do it, Webb said. But make sure each attack looks like it came from a different enemy. The communication attacks began that night. The quantum relay at Proxima 7 exploded, cutting off Zephyrian space from the central network. The evidence suggested crystal beings had used sonic weapons to shatter the relay equipment. The relay at Kepler Station was destroyed by what looked like Silicon Collective nanobots. The relay at Wolf 359 suffered biological contamination that destroyed its organic components. Within a week, species across the Empire could barely talk to each other. They couldn't coordinate trade, military movements, or diplomatic solutions. Fear filled the gap where communication had been. Without information, species began to assume the worst about their neighbors. The first shooting began in the neutral zone between Zephyrian and Andromedan space. A patrol ship from each side met near an asteroid field. Neither captain was sure if the other was friend or enemy. Both ships opened fire. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, both ships were destroyed. Each side blamed the other for starting the fight. War was coming to the galaxy. Not the quick, clean war that had killed Earth. This would be a long, bitter civil war that would tear the Empire apart. Webb watched the news reports with cold satisfaction. The Empire had taught humanity about extinction. Now humanity was teaching the same lesson to their former masters. The serpent had entered paradise. And paradise was starting to burn. 1 year after Earth died, the galaxy was on fire. What had started as small fights between patrol ships had become the largest war in galactic history. 14 star systems were now battlefields. Entire fleets fought and died in space while planets burned below them. The Zephyrian-Andromedan War had cost millions of lives. Neither side remembered why they were fighting anymore. They just knew their enemy had to be destroyed. Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the battle reports from her command ship. Her human fleet moved through space like sharks, invisible to the warring aliens. The Empire's sensors were designed to track known ship types. Humanity's ghost fleet used stolen technology that no one could identify. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from the Crystal Hierarchy. They're requesting aid against the Void Walkers." Elena smiled coldly. "Tell them we're Silicon Collective ships responding to their distress call. Then attack the Void Walker fleet with crystal weapons." This was how the war continued to spread. Every human attack was blamed on someone else. Every rescue mission was really another trap. The aliens were so busy fighting each other that they never noticed the real enemy. Dr. Marcus Webb had a different mission today. He stood in the cargo bay of a stealth ship wearing the disguise of a maintenance worker. They were approaching Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Empire. "This is insane, Marcus," said Captain Park through his earpiece. "If they catch you—" "They won't catch me," Webb replied. "They think all humans are dead." Webb's target was not a military installation. It was the Imperial Archive, a massive data center that contained the history and genetic records of every species in the Empire, information that kept civilizations alive during wartime. He had spent months learning the building's layout. Human spies had mapped every corridor and security system. They knew the guards' schedules and the computer passwords. The maintenance worker disguise worked perfectly. Webb walked through the archive's corridors with confidence. To anyone watching, he was just another alien doing his job. The main computer core was housed in a protected chamber deep underground. Webb attached a small device to the data lines, a gift from humanity's best computer experts. It would slowly delete specific information while leaving the rest intact. When the device finished its work, every Imperial species would lose critical data. The location of their homeworlds would be deleted. Records of genetic weaknesses would disappear. technical manuals for essential technology would be corrupted. In a galaxy at war, this information was the difference between survival and extinction. Webb was leaving the archive when the alarms began to sound. But they were not for him. Emergency broadcasts filled the communication networks with news of another battle. The Crystal Hierarchy had just sterilized 3 Voidwalker colonies. They claimed the Voidwalkers had launched biological weapons against Crystal worlds. The Voidwalkers denied it and promised revenge. Webb smiled as he walked to his escape ship. The humans had indeed planted biological weapons on Crystal worlds, weapons designed to look like Voidwalker creations. Both species would blame each other for the attack. Meanwhile, Admiral Vasquez had found something more important than battles. Her intelligence team had located the Imperial weapon that destroyed Earth. It was called the Starbreaker, and it was hidden in a secret facility in the Dark Nebula. "It's guarded by an entire battle fleet," her tactical officer reported. 12 dreadnoughts and support ships. "The same type of ships that killed Earth," Vasquez said quietly. "Admiral, we can't fight 12 dreadnoughts. Not directly." Vasquez studied the tactical display. The Starbreaker was the ultimate weapon, capable of destroying planets from across star systems. In the right hands, it could end the war immediately. "We're not going to fight them," she said. "We're going to steal it." The plan required precise timing. Vasquez sent false intelligence to both the Zephyrian and Andromedan fleets. Each side was told that their enemies were planning to steal the Starbreaker for themselves. Both fleets rushed to the Dark Nebula to prevent the theft. They arrived at the same time and immediately began fighting each other. The Imperial Guard fleet found itself caught between 2 massive enemy forces. While the 3 fleets destroyed each other, Vasquez's ships slipped past the battle. They used stealth technology and the chaos of war to reach the Starbreaker facility. The weapon was enormous, a space station the size of a city, built around a core of dark matter and antimatter. It took 6 hours for human engineers to figure out how to operate it. "We have control, Admiral," the chief engineer reported. "The Starbreaker is ours." Vasquez looked at the weapon controls. She could destroy any planet in the galaxy with the touch of a button. She could revenge Earth 1,000 times over. But Webb had given her different orders. That night, humanity made its final move. They took control of every major communication network in the galaxy simultaneously. Human hackers, working for a year in secret, activated programs hidden throughout Imperial technology. Every screen in the galaxy showed the same message. It was Webb, broadcasting from the captured Imperial flagship. Behind him stood the few thousand humans left alive. "People of the galaxy," he said in a calm voice. "My name is Marcus Webb. I am human. We are the species your empire tried to extinct 1 year ago." The broadcast showed recordings of everything humanity had done, every manipulation, every false flag operation, every lie that had started the Galactic Civil War. "You think you are fighting each other," Webb continued. "You think your ancient enemies have betrayed you. You are wrong. This entire war is our creation. We have been pulling your strings like puppets." The recording showed Zephyrian ships attacking Andromedan colonies, but the weapons fire came from human ships disguised with holographic camouflage. They showed crystal beings contaminating Voidwalker worlds, but the contamination was spread by human agents in biological suits. They showed every crime that had torn the Empire apart. "This is what you are without your empire to control you," Webb said. "This is what we learned about you in 50 years of watching. You are not civilized. You are just afraid. And now you have something real to fear." The broadcast ended with images of the captured Starbreaker. Everyone in the galaxy could see that humans now controlled the weapon that had killed their homeworld. "We have shown you what we are capable of," Webb's voice continued. "We turned your greatest alliance into the greatest war in galactic history. We did this with less than 200,000 people. Imagine what we will do next. The transmission ended with a simple message scrolling across every screen. Remember Earth. Remember what we are capable of. Choose wisely. Across the galaxy, the warring fleet stopped fighting. For the first time in a year, there was silence in space. Everyone was looking up at the stars and wondering what the humans would do next. The Empire was dead. In its place was chaos, fear, and the knowledge that something small and angry was watching from the dark. The humans had won, but victory felt like ashes in their mouths. Now came the hardest choice of all: what to do with their power. 2 years after Earth died, Dr. Marcus Webb stood alone on the bridge of the captured Imperial flagship. Through the massive windows, he could see the Starbreaker weapon platform floating in space nearby. The ultimate weapon that had killed his world now belonged to him. The war was over. The Galactic Empire no longer existed. Of the 47 species that had once ruled the galaxy, 12 were extinct. Some had died in the war humanity created. Others had lost the technology they needed to survive when their data was destroyed. A few had simply given up and let their civilizations fade away. The remaining 35 species were scattered across 1,000 isolated worlds. They were too busy trying to survive to threaten anyone. Most couldn't even communicate with each other anymore. Webb held a small device in his hand. It contained the firing codes for the Starbreaker. With it, he could destroy any planet in the galaxy. He could finish what the Empire started and make sure no alien species would ever threaten humanity again. Admiral Elena Vasquez entered the bridge. Her face looked tired. 2 years of war had aged her beyond her years. "The reports are in, Marcus," she said. "The last Zephyrian colony has surrendered. The Andromedan homeworld is asking for humanitarian aid. The crystal beings I think they're dying out. They can't maintain their energy matrix without their technology." Webb nodded but didn't turn around. "And our people? The 200,000 survivors are spread across 50 worlds. They're safe, hidden. We could rebuild our civilization anywhere we choose." Webb looked at the device in his hand. "Or we could make sure we never need to hide again." Elena sat down in a nearby chair. "Marcus, we need to talk about what comes next." "What comes next is simple," Webb said. "We finish what we started. We use the Starbreaker to destroy every alien homeworld. We make sure no species ever gets strong enough to threaten us again." "And then what? We become the Empire? We rule the galaxy through fear?" Webb finally turned to face her. His eyes were cold. "They taught us that extinction is an option, Elena. Maybe it's time they learned that lesson personally." "That's not who we are." "Isn't it?" Webb asked. "Look what we accomplished. We destroyed a galactic empire with 200,000 people. We turned allies into enemies. We created the largest war in galactic history. We are very good at destruction." Elena stood up. "We're also good at building. We built colonies on 12 worlds. We created art and music and science. We raised children and told stories and dreamed of the future. All of that is dead. Earth is dead. Our children are dead. Our future is dead." "No," Elena said firmly. 7 billion people are dead, but humanity isn't. We're still here. We're still alive. We can still choose what we become." Webb looked back at the Starbreaker. "I've been receiving messages from the survivors. Half of them want me to use the weapon. They want revenge for Earth. They want to make sure this never happens again. And the other half, they want us to stop. They say we've done enough damage." Elena walked over to the communications console. "Let me show you something." She activated the screen. It showed a refugee camp on a distant world. Aliens from dozens of species lived together in temporary shelters. They were sharing food and medical supplies. Children from different species were playing together. "This is the Centauri Relief Station," Elena said. "Our people built it. Humans are helping alien refugees survive. Webb stared at the screen. Why? Because some of our people decided that saving lives was more important than taking them. Because they remembered that we're supposed to be better than our enemies. The screen showed more images. Human doctors treating alien patients. Human engineers rebuilding destroyed cities. Human teachers helping alien children learn to read. This is happening across the galaxy, Elena said. While you've been planning to destroy worlds, our people have been saving them. Webb felt something crack inside his chest. It was the first emotion he had felt in months besides anger. But they killed us, he whispered. They killed our families, our friends, our world. Yes, Elena said gently. They did. And we made them pay for it. The Empire is gone. The species that ordered Earth's destruction are extinct or scattered. We won, Marcus. We already won. Webb looked at the firing device again. So what do we do now? We choose what humanity becomes next. Do we become the monsters that destroy civilizations, or do we become the people who build them? Webb thought about his wife and children. What would they want him to do? Would they want him to kill billions of innocent aliens, or would they want him to build something better? He thought about the human children in the refugee camps, the ones who would grow up in the galaxy he created. What kind of world did he want to give them? There's a third option, Webb said slowly. He walked to the Starbreaker's control system, but instead of targeting an alien homeworld, he began programming new coordinates. What are you doing? Elena asked. Using the Starbreaker to create instead of destroy, Webb said. This weapon can remake matter at the atomic level. Instead of destroying planets, we can build them. Webb's fingers moved across the controls. There's a dead system 12 light-years from here. No planets, just asteroids and cosmic dust. The Starbreaker can turn that raw material into a new Earth. Elena watched as Webb input the commands. You want to build a new homeworld. I want to build a new civilization. Not just for humans, but for everyone. All the species we made homeless. All the refugees, all the orphans. We'll give them something better than the Empire ever was. Webb initiated the Starbreaker's sequence. Instead of a weapon of destruction, it became a tool of creation. Across 12 light-years of space, cosmic dust began to condense into something new. This will take years to complete, Elena said. Then we have years to plan it properly, to make sure we build something that will never again decide that an entire species needs to die. Webb sent a message to every human survivor in the galaxy. Come home. We have work to do. The response was immediate. Ships began arriving from across space, carrying humans who were ready to build instead of destroy. But Webb wasn't finished. He sent another message, this one broadcast to every species in the galaxy. People of the galaxy, he said, my name is Marcus Webb. I am the last human. 1 year ago, I told you to fear us. Today, I offer you something else. Hope. The message showed the new world taking shape in the distant star system. A blue and green planet with vast continents and deep oceans. We are building a new home, Webb continued, not just for humans, but for anyone who wants to live in peace. Anyone who wants to help build a civilization based on cooperation instead of domination. Anyone who believes that extinction should never again be the answer to our differences. He paused, looking directly into the camera. The Empire taught us that extinction is an option. Today, we're teaching you that survival is a choice. We're making that choice for ourselves. We hope you'll make it too. Webb ended the transmission and looked out at the stars. The galaxy was broken, but it could be rebuilt. Humanity had learned how to destroy. Now it was time to learn how to create. The new Earth was taking shape in the distance. Soon, ships from across the galaxy would arrive carrying refugees and dreamers, and anyone who wanted to start over. The Empire was dead. but from its ashes, something better would grow. Webb made one final log entry. The war is over. We won. But our real victory will be measured by what we build next. The galaxy will remember both what we destroyed and what we created. History will judge which legacy matters more. In the deep space around the New World, automated human ships continued their patrol routes. They carried sensors and weapons, and a simple message for anyone who might threaten the growing civilization. Remember Earth. Remember what we are capable of. Choose wisely. But they also carried medical supplies and building materials and teachers, because humanity had learned that true power came not from the ability to destroy, but from the choice to create. The last human was no longer alone, and the galaxy would never be the same.